Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be setting up my planner for 2022. I'm using a Hobonichi Weeks Mega in the sunshine color, and I ordered mine directly from Hobonichi this year. I also have it in a clear cover from them, and I'm using a Page Keeper also from Hobonichi to keep this closed currently. I like to switch out my covers throughout the year, but at the beginning of the year it's fun to be just in a clear cover and enjoy the new color. I have done some of the stuff off camera, so we'll flip through that first and then we will set up my collections in the back together on camera. But if you've not seen a Hobonichi Weeks before, let's just flip through it quick. You get a year at a glance, last year and next year. There is a future log type of spread, and then you move into your monthlies. They are a Monday start, and you get December of 2021 through March of 2022. From there, it moves into the horizontal weekly spreads. They're a week on 2-page Monday start. The left-hand side is blank and the right-hand side is a grid paper. And then in the back, you get the notes pages. They are numbered, they are a grid, and all of this paper is a very cream and Tomoe River paper, which some people love and some people don't love. So I've been a huge fan of the cream paper actually last year, so I'm looking forward to doing another year with it. So I used one for 2021, and if you want to see how I decided which spreads I will be setting up in this particular planner, I will link my migration video up in the cards above, and I just flipped through last year's and decided which things were working for me and I wanted to transfer over, and then what I wanted to add new based off my goals for the year. So things I've done off camera, let's just flip through those quick and then we can get started. So on the year at a glance, I have underlined my paydays just for quick reference. I also want to use this page as a travel tracker. I've just picked out 3 Tombow colors to track, like when we're going home, when we're on vacation somewhere else, and then when I'm traveling for work. And I did the underlining using a fine liner. This is the Uni Pin in light gray and 0.1. In the future log, I will be using this to track my average weight at the top, and then I will use this bottom portion as my daily exercise tracker. I will start this in December, so I wrote 2021 above it, but then below each of these, I wrote in the fiscal week numbers that correspond with the month, and I will write in my average weight next to that, and I wrote in the fiscal week numbers with the same Uni Pin in light gray. All right, I think you saw this briefly, but I did go through and I transferred all of the birthdays, future events, appointments, and US holidays that I would need to see. This is a Japanese planner, so the holidays are not necessarily marked in English, so I go in and add the ones that I know I need to remember or that I get a day off for. So I went ahead and kind of moved all those in so that they were ready to go at the beginning of the year. I also put in my future appointments, and if something gets canceled, I just strike through it. I'm not that busy, so it's pretty easy for me to keep up with that. I haven't put anything in my weeklies, and I typically will set up my weeklies at the beginning of the month. So I think I've got like another week before I will move over into this planner and start planning for December. The last thing I've done is glued in a few pages here. So I glued in my vision board, and I came up with my vision board as part of my goal process. I have a video on the goal planner that I'm using for this year. I can link that up in the cards, but I just found some photos that corresponded with my goals, uploaded them to Canva, and then printed this out, and I've glued it in using a Tombow Mono Adhesive. And then down here on the right, I've written in my 7 goals and then stamped them using my stamp set from Amazon. And then I've got a Tombow color that corresponds with each of the goals. I'm not big into color coding, but I might do that this year, we'll see. And then speaking of goals, the last thing I have done is I've gone ahead and printed and glued in the SM plans insert. It's called her monthly plan, and it's basically a attending list. I will link SM Plan Shop down below. I believe she makes these for Hobonichi Weeks now, but I have the pocket one, so I just continue to use it. So I printed them off and then used that same Tombow Mono Adhesive, and this was December's. I put it on the other side of the My 100, and then all of 2022 is on the right of my 100, and I went ahead and put them in for the rest of the year because I think that will encourage me to keep up with it. I've also staggered them because in the empty space, I'm going to print off a photo using my Polaroid zip as like a highlight of the month and then put that in there because I'm not very good at scrapbooking. So I thought this way I would at least have 12 photos from the year in here. And then I just staggered them so that they wouldn't all stack up on top of each other because the Polaroid zip zinc printer paper can get a little bit thick. All right, so with that, I think we're gonna flip over to VoiceOver and I'm gonna set up my collections in the back. I will be doing everything using my Pilot Vanishing Point in Extra Fine, which is inked with the Atramentis Archive Ink. And then I think I might pull in a couple of these. These are some Sakura Pigma Microns, and these are felt tip fine liners. I've got 01 and 005, and I like these on the Tombow paper just fine too. The first spread I'm setting up is my index. I'm definitely an indexer and I'm writing index, attempting to center it across 2 pages using my fine liner in cursive, and then I'm going to use a fine liner and a ruler from Hobonichi to just kind of create a couple lines to bookend my header. I like to index any sort of collections or reference information I gather throughout the year, and I index for next year me more so than current year me. The next couple spreads I'm setting up are 2 habit trackers, and these are more of an annual monthly type of setup. So I will write December through November, the first letter of each month at the top, and then I'm going to number 1 through 31 down below. So there is a space for every day of the month to track these particular habits. On the left-hand page, I'm tracking my cycle, and I wrote that in using my Pilot Vanishing Point. This year I wanted to keep my setup super simple, so pretty much just pen, no doodles, no color other than just using the black ink, but I wanted to dress it up a little bit from last year's setup, so I went for a cursive font for all of my headers, and I'm attempting to center them. Left-hand page, I'll track my cycle. I don't get into this too much because I like to keep that private, but I track when I'm on my period and when I'm ovulating. And on the right-hand side with the same setup, this is my plant-based tracker. One of my goals is to eat whole food, plant-based 80% of the time by the end of the year, and I've got a couple symbols I'm thinking I will use to track when I have dairy, when I eat vegan, and when I hit my goal of eating more whole food, plant-based. And then at the bottom, I'm going to write in December through November again so that I can give myself a days out of total percentage so I can see if I'm getting better throughout the year. The next spread I'm setting up is my weekly cleaning tracker, and again I'm doing my header with my Pilot Vanishing Point. This is a spread I really was hoping I wouldn't need to carry over, but definitely has earned a spot in my planner for this year. This is where I keep track of the areas that I need to clean in my home on a weekly basis, and I am starting out by writing week 48, and I will walk all the way through week 47 2022 at the top. And I did a similar spread last year, but it was horizontal, so this year I wanted to make it vertical, so I just kind of split the page into 2 sections. So second half of the year I'll just bump down below and keep kind of checking these things off. And then on the left hand side I'm writing out the areas that I need to clean, and I'm skipping a line kind of to represent each room. I clean more than this on the weekly basis, and some of this I don't clean every week, but this is a space for me to kind of keep track of it and see if I'm falling behind, etc. The second half of the year I wrote out the fiscal week numbers, but I left the areas blank just to give myself an opportunity to reevaluate if I want to adjust this list, and there's always a possibility that we may end up relocating. So I thought, all right, less work for me, but I did pencil in all the areas just to make sure that I would have room to duplicate it if this is working at that point. The next spread is my adulting / monthly cleaning checklist, This was 2 different spreads in my 2021 setup, and this is where I can kind of keep track again on that monthly annual view, anything that I need to clean on either a monthly basis or quarterly, semi-annually, etc. Just things that if I don't give them attention a few times per year, it ends up being a pretty big chore, like cleaning the gasket of our front loading washer, washing our mattress pad, things along those lines, making sure we polish stainless steel, small things that probably don't need to get done on a weekly basis. It's just me and my husband. We're not that messy, but if we let it go more than once a month, then these things kind of pile up. And the bottom portion of this spread is kind of what I call my adulting tracker, and these are things that I need to do that are not automated. So typically it's like when doctor's appointments are, renewing vehicle registration, getting emissions inspections done, things like that that I need to do to be a functioning adult with a car, etc. But they're not automated, so I need to make sure they are scheduled, or I show up for that, or I submit whatever it is that I need to submit, and then I check it off when I'm done, so I don't wonder if I did or did not do something. On the right-hand page, I am titling this my reading tracker, and this is basically where I will write down any books that I read throughout the year, or audiobooks that I listen to, fan fiction that I read that I would like to revisit. I kept this pretty simple. Again, I did number for book number in the list, title, and then a star, and I gave myself 5 rows to track out of 5 stars what my rating for whatever I read was. I keep track of my reading on Goodreads, so I didn't need like a super duper in-depth list, but I do like going back and seeing what types of things I was reading, and sometimes I come across something that I want to revisit, so having a list can be useful for that reason. Next is a 2-page spread for kind of like a financial overview. On the left-hand page, I titled this taxes, and this is basically where I keep track of whenever we invest any money, just because we don't invest in every account every year, and I will get a jump start on taxes and not have all the documentation that I need. So this just is a reminder, and also it's good to have at a glance when we are having a discussion with a financial advisor. And the right-hand page is titled Annual Spend, and I'm creating a little table to summarize our monthly income, spending, savings, and investments for each month of 2022. I also left a couple rows to track December's dollar amounts and an average of 2021, just for reference, so that I can kind of see that. This is something I wish I had at my fingertips on a call that I was on last month, so now we're adding it to my planner because that's how I ensure that I've got that information when I need it. At the bottom, there's quite a bit of free space. I may end up either writing down like 2022 budget goals, etc., related to our finances down below, but right now I just left it blank so I could kind of add anything if I needed as it comes up. My husband's collection page. These are really simple. My date log is basically I'll write down the date, what we did, or the date and a quote from a movie that we thought was funny, and the branding collection is just where I write down things I need to remember for my husband or he asked me to write down for him. From there, I'm moving into my wish list, and I am trying a little bit of a different approach. I'm splitting the page in 2, and on the left-hand side, I'm titling that column in, and the right-hand side, I'm titling it out. So I will do my running wish list on the in. If I end up buying it, I will check it off, and then I want to remove something from my home to make room for that, and that is where I will write what left to make room for what came in. We'll see how well this goes. It's a good idea in theory. On the right hand page, I'm creating my gift list. I'm splitting this page into 4 quarters. Basically, the top half is my side of the family and the bottom half will be my husband's side of the family, and I just do an Alistair method to keep track of gift ideas with a dot under the first letter of their name to keep track of who that idea belongs to. Second, flipping the page here, I'm creating my inventory spread, and this is basically where I keep track of backup products, and I'm once more creating 4 quarters for this page. On the top left hand side, I'm keeping track of lists of backup bathroom products, and on the bottom half of the spread it will be lists of backup pantry items, and to the right of the vertical line I will just put a dot or a circle for anytime I have a backup product there, and then as I use them I will fill them out. So if I see I only have one left of something, then I'll know I need to add it to the list for the next time we go to like Sam's Club or similar places. On the right hand side, I'm splitting this into 2 columns, and I've titled it my shopping list, and this is just where I will write down anything we need that is not groceries, so when we go to those places I will reference it accordingly. The next 2-page spread is my check register, and this is where I keep track of my own personal fun money spending. Almost all of my finances are done digitally because that works a little bit better for our household, but when it comes to my own personal fun money, a lot of the times the charges don't hit our account until like a day or 2 later, either from like Shopify or Etsy, etc., because let's be honest, all my money's go to planners, and having it written down real time just like keeps me more accountable. So last year I used a 2 pages kind of throughout the entire setup, so I thought I would just kind of put them together, and I do a column for the date, description, money in, money out, and then a running balance just to kind of keep track of that throughout the year. And I guess as a note, I'm using the fine liner for most of these setup spreads because I'm drawing in vertical straight lines, and if I do that with my fountain pen, it will end in smudges and sadness. So that is why I kind of pulled in the Sakura Pigma fine liner, and the 005 is thin enough where it dries almost instantaneously, so it's a really good one to use on the Tombow River paper at that fine of a tip, but you have to be careful with the amount of pressure that you use because they are super fine. I am now creating essentially another check register. This is where I keep track of things that get charged to the wrong account between my husband and my finances, and I just write down what it was, the amount, which account I need to move money to, and then when we get paid, I move that around accordingly. So it's just something that works better for me to have written on paper. I've tried to find a good way to translate this digitally, but I'm just a pen and paper kind of gal. Okay, last couple pages here are a embarrassingly 4-page spread for a package tracker. I looked at the number of package trackers that I needed last year, and it was a whopping 5 pages. So I've just decided to put 4 of them all together in one place, and I might split this into 2 columns if I can wing it. But I keep track of all the mail coming to our house, either from things I purchased with my own fun money, or it's like an Amazon order for cleaning products, Target, etc., because I can lose mail pretty regularly in our complex, so having it all written down works out really well. So this year's theme was kind of like Pikachu, warm tone colors. I've got some tabs from the Coffee Monsters Co. I might pull in, but I am excited to move into a new Hobonichi Weeks. It's a really good feeling to just kind of get that fresh start, and the bright yellow is definitely growing on me, probably because it matches my Nintendo Switch. So, you know, we love a matchy-matchy, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this process. If you have any questions, let me know down below. If you are using a Hobonichi Weeks, let me know what color you went with. And if you have made it this long, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.